Good morning, Bucknutters. It is Thursday, June 13th, 2024. I am Dan Rubin, and this is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and Change. Got a good show coming up for you today. The Dean will be holding some serious court. It's camp season. He's been there. He knows it all. Mark Porter, we will hope to have in here today. He is on the road himself. I believe his son's going to quarterback it up today at an Ohio State camp, and we will hope to have him from the road. But first, you know what it is. Father's Day time. We tend to have the people here who are a little more focused on sports, maybe than rites of passage, but it is Father's Day. Are you struggling to find the perfect gift for the man who has everything? The solution is simple. Give him the unforgettable experience of Omaha Steaks, because a world-class dad deserves a world-class steak. The Father's Day experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to put a smile on the big guy's face with hand-selected gift packages starting at just $99. And when you use promo code BUCKNUTS at checkout, you'll get $10 off your order. With Omaha Steaks, the possibilities are endless. Endless flavor, endless variety, and endless value. Truly, they have perfected more than steak, and your dad is guaranteed to love every bite. Pick from premium proteins like juicy pork chops, air-grilled chicken, and beefy burgers. Time is running out. Don't wait till the last minute. Go to omahasteaks.com and order today with packages starting at $99. And don't forget to use promo code BUCKNUTS at checkout. You'll get $10 off. Shop for unforgettable gifts that are guaranteed to make Dad's day, because if there's one thing Omaha Steaks knows, it's dads want steak. And if there's one thing Bucknutters want, it is recruiting information. Look at the dedication. The Dean, the Grand Poobah, they're all here. Mark driving without his glasses on. I hope you're wearing contacts. That's good. Big day, big days. There has been a talent potpourri over at the WAC. I have to admit, another day that made me feel really old, as I saw we offered a cornerback from North Carolina with the last name Portis, who kind of looked like a guy I used to cover, and it was Clinton Portis' son. And I remember covering the Redskins when Clinton Porter was a rookie, and we are just getting older and older. Dean, where would you like to take the day? I'd like to give everyone kind of a snapshot of Tuesday and Wednesday. We had a show Tuesday morning of what we've seen. And then the second half of the show will go into what we've seen, what we'll see today. We've got some video to back all this up. So, Bill, the floor is yours.
Well, as you mentioned, Dan, one of the new offers went out to Camden Portis. He is a 2026 cornerback from North Carolina, Charlotte, from Myers Park. And he is the son, as you mentioned, of Camden Portis is the son of Clinton Portis. So he was one of 7 players that were offered a scholarship at that camp, and it's been pretty consistent how many guys that end up getting offers, which has been a good amount every camp. The first camp, looking back at that, there were 6 new offers. The second camp, there were 7 new offers. If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure that's right. And the third camp, the last camp, 7 new offers. So it's pretty consistent, which tells me that they've been consistently getting a really good group of players. In fact, I talked to some sources at Ohio State while I was there and complimented on, what a great job that the staff has done of getting talent at these camps so far. And I mentioned, I think in our last podcast, that the talent that Ohio State has had, or they had in particular at that second camp at tight end, I had a college coach tell me that's the best group of tight ends they've ever seen at a college camp. That's going pretty far. And I would agree. That was a super group, the second camp. But to go back to this past camp, the third camp, Portis, as I mentioned, wasn't the only offer. 6 other new offers were made. One of them, an Ohioan, And boy, did he look good. And Mark and I were talking about him at the camp. D'Angelo White, he's a 6'5", 230-pound tight end from Cleveland, Villa St. Angelo St. Joseph. And he is a teammate of Bo Jackson, the Ohio State committed. And D'Angelo White is listed at 6'5", 230. And looking at him, I would say he is every bit of that and maybe a little more. He is a big guy.
Sophomore, right?
Yeah, he's a sophomore, 2027. Mark Pantoni and Ryan Day spent quite a bit of time watching D'Angelo White and could see why. Mark and I said pretty quickly, this kid's getting an offer, and he did. They offered a 2026 wide receiver, Braden Robinson from Red Oak, Texas, who had a great day. Brian Hartline keeps bringing in these wide receivers to camps, and they keep getting offered. Another one that Brian Hartline offered, another 2026 wide receiver, Mike Brown, also from Texas, from the Houston area, Spring, Texas, got offered by the Buckeyes. Ohio State offered the first quarter 2028 quarterback, Neiman Lawrence from Miami, Florida. And he certainly showed that he could spin it. He got an offer. A kid that Pat Murphy and I saw right away. We got there early for that camp on Tuesday. We got there early, and two guys were working out with Tim Walton. One of them was Dakota Durant. He's from Harper Woods, Michigan. He got an offer from the Buckeyes. He was an interesting guy in that in the morning he was working out with Tim Walton as a cornerback. Later in the camp, he was working out with Brian Hartline as a wide receiver. So he was offered by the Buckeyes, and I think he's good enough to play either position. He really had a nice day. Pat and I were looking at him quickly at camp. A 2027 linebacker, Lafau Luamali. He is from the same high school as JT Tuimoloau, and they were together some on Tuesday. He got an offer. Again, he's a 2027 linebacker that got an offer. And then, as I mentioned, Camden Portis got an offer. So it was and you factor in, too, that there were some guys there that Ohio State had already offered, including Brody Keefe, the wide receiver from Myers Park High School in Charlotte, North Carolina. He was coming out of a hamstring injury, so he didn't do the one-on-ones, but he did the other stuff at camp. Ohio State offered him long ago. Right now, Ohio State and Tennessee are his leaders. He told me that. His mom kind of said the same thing. But they are going to go to Alabama this weekend, and if he gets an offer from them, that'll put Alabama in the mix, I think. They would like an offer from Alabama. He's certainly, in my opinion, is good enough, and we'll see what happens this weekend when Brody Keefe and his mom are at Alabama. And then also Eric McFarland was a guy that Ohio State had previously offered, and he was absolutely dynamic at that camp. He just couldn't be guarded. He was that good. He is a 2028 a 2028 wide receiver from Bradenton IMG High School, Florida. He was part of the contingent of South Florida Express guys that were at Ohio State's camp on Tuesday, and boy, he showed he is absolutely the real deal.
Bill, before we move on, we're getting some questions about Dia Bell, the quarterback who worked out.
Yep.
Another legacy, but this one from the NBA. His father is Raja Bell. So there'll be no Cowboys commentary. Drink. Go ahead, Bill. Your thoughts on Dia?
Yeah, he was. And again, I know I highlighted two guys that had already been offered by Ohio State, Brody Keefe and Eric McFarland. But there were two quarterbacks there that had already been offered by Ohio State. Dia Bell was one of them. Brady Palmer was the other. They both look good. Both look very good. I guess Dia Bell, he really spins it well. And I had a video. I sent out a clip of Dia Bell standing next to Tavian St. Clair and throwing at that camp. And Mark, you guys may be able to cue that up. I don't know. But if you watch those two guys throwing right next to each other at the camp, Dia Bell kind of looks like a little bit younger version. There we go.
Hold on.
A little younger version of Tavian St. Clair. I can see Dia Bell. Tavian St. Clair is a grown man, as Urban Meyer likes to say. There you go. Right next to him is Diabell, and I can see Diabell looking like Tavian St. Clair does now. I can see
That was Bell right there, Bill.
Yeah, that was well.
This is St. Clair right here.
Okay, I was going to say if that's
Clair,
Bell, he's good.
Yeah.
It was Diabell was throwing right next to St. Clair in that first clip.
This is the freak of freaks.
Okay, that's Jakeem
Can
Stewart
anyone,
from the other day.
yeah, anyone want to guess who that is?
Yeah, I think he just slapped 5 with Tyleek Williams, by the way.
Tyleek was there, yes.
Yeah. Who we got here?
That is Brady Palmer.
Okay. Bill, if you can kind of take over, that'd be helpful.
Yeah, that is Brady Palmer. They're doing a drill where he drops it in. Let's see who we have here. That is Brady
Same
Palmer
guy.
again.
Yeah, I think we got 2 or 3 clips of each guy as we go through these quarterbacks.
Yep, that's Brady Palmer. Yep. That one right there is Edmonds, the quarterback that Ohio State offered the previous camp from Huntington Beach, California. And there we have, that's Diabell there, right there, throwing an out pattern, completing it. And again, Diabell. This one, I believe, is where he goes deep. Yep, and that is quite a catch.
Who's that?
Heck of a catch.
That's McFarland, by the way.
I was going to say, my concern about McFarland when I first heard about him was he's not very tall, and the first thing he did was just jump over a 6'1" dude and snag it.
Yep. The kid on the left there was.
Now we're to the tight ends.
Yep. That is Max Suter, the tight end that Ohio State has offered out of Illinois.
Okay. There he is.
That again is Suter there.
I like it. That hurt my back just watching, by the way. Who we got here?
Let me see. Oh, gosh.
Another tight end.
Ryder Mix. That's Ryder Mix, who Ohio State has already offered a scholarship. He came into camp with an Ohio State offer. And that one is – that's D'Angelo White, the tight end.
You know what? D'Angelo White's coming up in a couple plays here. I forget who that was, but he was from out of state. This tight end here. Yeah, this was the day where you could see we had the best tight end day, like in the history of tight ends. Every one of them 6'5", 240 pounds and long. And, of course, we're going to get to White here. And he's going to stand out like a sore thumb being the freshman. And he looks as good as all these older guys we're looking at here. I'm pretty sure this is the freshman here, Bill. From Bill Angelo St. Joe's.
That is D'Angelo White going deep.
That is him right there. So that's what a freshman looks like in high school, if you can believe that.
It's so long.
Yeah, you could see Guy Scott working with him. He's pretty impressed there, by the way. He can come in and out of breaks and run. See, that's G right there.
Oh, yeah.
And that's D'Angelo again, yep. That one right there is Peyton Cook, the wide receiver, defensive back from Akron-Hoban, class of 2026. And again.
All right, good stuff. Is there anyone else we need to know about who was here? Because what you're getting now is the who's going to be next chatter. And things just seem a little bit different now. There used to be a time like on official visits or even unofficial visits or camp stuff where I'd expect a commitment or two. It just doesn't seem like kids do that as much anymore. Everyone kind of wants their share of the spotlight. Is that an accurate assessment of what's going on? Should we be worried we're not getting, you know what I'm saying, commitments on a routine basis? And if you had to predict who's next, who would it be?
Well, that's very accurate. The kids, they, as you mentioned, they want to wait. They don't necessarily in the old days of the 900 number, when there were official visits, I would call these kids and they would just tell me on the phone, I committed to Ohio State, and I would put that on my 900 number. They don't do that anymore. They want to take their time, and that's there's nothing wrong with that. One other kid you said, is there anybody else we should mention? Well, they had a team camp yesterday, and there is somebody we should mention that was at that team camp. That was he was with his team, but not working out because he's an offensive lineman, not working out with his team. It was a 7-on-7 team camp, and Jake Cook, the offensive lineman from Westerville North, was with his team, and he did a worked out again with Ohio State offensive line coach Justin Fry. Still scholarship offer wasn't made, but Ohio State is still looking at Jake Cook, and we'll see what happens. Again, there are 3 centers in the mix. Andrew Stargell from Georgia, who just made his official visit to Ohio State last weekend and will visit North Carolina State this weekend, and then Kentucky, and then announced his decision on his birthday, July 4th. And there is Caden Strayhorn, the center from Bradenton IMG, who visited Ohio State 2 weekends ago and will make an official visit to Michigan this weekend before he makes a decision. He's, by the way, from the state of Michigan, from Novi. And then there is Jake Cook, and Jake Cook is committed to Louisville still, but he's still on Ohio State's radar screen, and we'll see what happens. Ohio State will, in all likelihood, end up with one of those 3 as the center in their 2025 recruiting class.
All right. Going to read an ad here, and then we're going to go over who's coming today and get to your questions. My guys, you ever my guys, you ever lift a little too hard or just forget to apply your daily deodorant and get hit by a truckload of BO from all directions? Does that 3-in-1 shampoo leave you needing a second shower just a few hours after the first? From the founders of Lumi, Mando Whole Body Deodorant is helping men conquer their odor in a new way. Formulated with mandelic acid, Mando has long-lasting 72-hour odor control that actually stops odor before it starts. Best part is you can put Mando everywhere. Pits, packages, feet, you know the deal. To top it off, Mando's cologne scents were created with men in mind. Pro tip, try their best-selling scent, Bourbon Leather. It's a game changer. Once you experience fresher underarms, a fresher package, and fresher feet, you'll never go back. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code and link. Use code Bucknuts at shopmando.com, shopmando.com with the code Bucknuts. All right. Bill, who will be here today? Will it offer the star-studded group that we've had, or is this a lower level? Give me your thoughts.
Well, it can't be a lower level if Mark Porter is driving his car while doing a podcast, and I believe also bringing his son down. So that right there, that's pretty impressive work when you're doing a podcast, driving your car, and making sure you get to camp in plenty of time. So, but no, I think it's going to be very.
Bill, before we go any further, Mark.
Yes, sir.
Let you spread your wings for a little bit here. Where's your son going? How old is he? What are your expectations for the day?
He is a youngin'. He's only coming out of 8th grade to be a freshman, and he's going down there to see what life is like in the big city. So when he comes back in a couple years, he will understand what he has to do to get noticed by any number of coaches that'll be there. So today, I hope he flies under the radar. Hope he doesn't ruin the good name of the Grand Poobah or Bucknuts. Okay, but yeah, he'll do a good job and complete passes. He won't be anywhere near the size and strength of some of these bigger guys, and that's kind of the world you need to see for a lot of recruits. Not a lot of recruits get a free preview this early of what's to come. So bring your son to work day, whatever you want to call it. It's an opportunity that. In the summer when you're trying to get workouts and get ready for your season, I'm going to bring him to a couple of these every year as tune-ups to see where you're at and how you handle pressure. And, can you look coaches in the eyes and talk to people? So there's a lot of stuff that you work on before you work on the scholarship.
I'll tell you what, most quarterbacks, let's just be honest, in their town are the guy. And I think it's helpful for them to get out and see there's a lot of guys who can really play. So it always is helpful for the youngins to see reality. And given his genetic makeup, I'm sure we'll be talking about him soon. Ryan Day should be nice to him. All right, Bill, what do you got for today?
Well, before you had mentioned, is it going to be a okay camp, great camp, same as the first 3 camp? I think it's going to be very similar to the first 3 camps. There are going to be some great players there, and there's going to be a lot of players trying to get a scholarship offer today. Let's start with the class of 2025 because Brody Lennon, Mark's well aware of him. Mark and I have been talking about him for quite some time. He is a tight end from Gilmore Academy up at Gates Mills up at Northeast Ohio. He's a 2025 tight end, and he's going to be supposed to work out today. Right now, doesn't have a scholarship offer from Ohio State. That could change today. We'll see what happens. Penn State has offered him a scholarship, and they are the leader right now, in my opinion. But we'll see what happens today. Ohio State has, of course, their number one target at tight end, and Nate Roberts already committed, who was here last weekend. And he is a great one. He's part of that fantastic contingent of tight ends. They're recruiting Brody Lennon, not as a prototype tight end, but as an H-back type guy. Could play out wide some. Yeah, he's a really good looking wide receiver type guy, in my opinion. So he'll be there. Guy that I absolutely love that is going to work out today is Elbert Hill from Akron-Holman High School. He's a cornerback, 2026, and in my opinion, he is one of the top two players in the state of Ohio right now for the class of 2026. Elbert Hill is the real deal. I think there's a reason he got offered a scholarship really early by Ohio State. He is tremendous. Jaira Edwards, he is a safety out of Maryland, out of St. Francis, that got an offer from Ohio State really early. Very much interested in Ohio State. He's working out. Derek Cooper, a running back, another 2026 guy. He is out of Chaminade, Madonna. Anybody recognize that high school? Jeremiah Smith. Mm-hmm. Derek Cooper originally committed to Georgia. He has backed off of that commitment. He is going to be at Ohio State today working out. He is an athlete guy. Ohio State is more recruiting him as a running back, but he is also a very good safety prospect. Ohio State offered him a scholarship. Should mention some Ohio guys. Cam Thomas, the linebacker from Lakota West High School. I've seen him play in person a couple times. He is a good-looking kid. He'll be looking for an offer today. He's got some really good offers as it is. Sincere Johnson up at Glenville is another kid that's got offers. Linebacker edge guy. Storm Miller, Strongsville, Ohio. He is another guy with Power 5 offers. Those are three in-state kids that will be there today. Going out of state, Carter Scruggs. He's an offensive lineman from Leesburg, Loudoun County in Virginia. 6'6", 270, and I'll definitely be watching him, and I'm sure that Justin Fry will be watching him. Justin Fry will also be watching Felix Ojo, an offensive lineman from Mansfield, Lake Ridge in Texas. Wouldn't be surprised if either one of those, in fact, I tend to think that they both may get offers today from Ohio State. Moving to the defensive side of the ball, Xavion Griffin-Hayes. He's a really good edge from Rollsville, and that's in North Carolina. That's a familiar name because Ohio State had a wide receiver signee that they got 2 years ago. No longer at Ohio State. He's at NC State now. Right. Yep. But Jamarian Carlton, another 2026 defensive lineman. He is from Temple, Texas, will be there. Here's a name that's a little bit maybe off the radar, but I'll be definitely watching him today because he's gotten about 3-4 Division I Power 5 type offers in the last week. That's Joseph Credit. He is a linebacker from Pearland, Texas. He will be working out today. And then let's go to the class of 2027, Jake Godfrey. He is a linebacker, and this high school is certainly familiar to anybody that follows recruiting. Sewanee North Gwinnett High School in Georgia. Jake Godfrey is a 6 foot, 200-pound linebacker, just a class of 2027 kid. You're only 6 foot and 200 pounds. Well, Ohio State's already offered him. They offered him early, so they're projecting him to grow into a little bit bigger guy, and they know he's going to be good. They offered him really early.
Same high school as Caden McDonald, I believe. And we know how we feel about the Atlanta suburbs when it comes to producing talent. If it's not the best in the country right now, it's certainly in the mix. All right, Mark, I'm not trying to make you feel left out here. Yeah. I also don't want you to crash and me have to probably be liable for the damages.
The group's I'm kind of looking. Yeah.
Tell me what you think of Elbert Hill relative to the other national type guys you've seen.
Yeah, I was going to say the guys I'm excited to see today or a lot of the guys I've been watching over the winter. The raw talent group will be there, which Elbert Hill is a part of that. My son's a part of that, so that's another reason he's there. But we watched Elbert Hill play receiver in the offseason, play defensive back in the offseason, and his length and speed are what makes him rare and what makes him so valuable. I mean, he's going to be a 6'1", 6'2" type corner, but when he gets at receiver, I haven't seen anybody run with him yet. I mean, he's beating guys by 5 and 10 yards when he opens it up in the open field. Now, can he do that at Ohio State against the level of competition they'll have on the defensive side of the ball? Will he work out on defense today and cover receivers, or will he get the treatment we saw last week where he gets the workout on one side of the ball before the camp, after? So that's the type of athlete you're dealing with there. He might want to play receiver. He was running receiver at the Akron-Hoban showcase when I was there. So I've seen him do a lot of both sides of the ball.
I'm excited about him. And then one of the reasons I asked is when you watch the video, he just looks longer than the average guy with those gifts.
Yep.
So, I mean, those are the guys you want to really be paying attention to. If he's got those hips, then he's in really good shape, because his body right now for his age, borderline prototype, the way I look at it.
Mark's talked about this before. It might be a thing where Tim Walton's got him over there at cornerback, and Brian Hartline's trying to pull him over to wide receiver to work out over there a little bit.
Hey, if those two, you know what? I will let those two settle it, and however they come out with it, let's run with it, because those two are, I mean, you can make an argument right now that Walton and Hartline is the number one duo of any two-headed recruiting monster, and there's, I don't want to get into details on all that, but all right, I'm going to go rapid fire here, Bill. Go ahead.
Yeah, hold on. There's
quick, because I might have not mentioned this guy, and maybe I did. When I was talking about the offers at the camp Tuesday, did I mention Neiman Lawrence, the quarterback?
You did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
2000.
Okay.
Yeah, 2028 quarterback, which blows my mind and blows my son's mind, being a 2028 kid, realizing that I watched his film. He played varsity as an 8th grader in Florida. He looks like he was a senior. Yeah, I mean, he's really the real deal. Watching him throw in person, he was the real deal. And before my phone goes on me or I black out here, watch J.J. Perez today. He's from Lutheran West, but he has transferred to Glenville. I've been told he's 390 pounds. I've been told he's 360 pounds. I've been told he's on his way to 330 pounds. In limited clips from his sophomore year, he's a 2026 kid. He absolutely dominated at 6'5" or 6'6", 360 pounds. At Glenville, they got their arms around him, and he's going to be at the camp today. He was a little banged up earlier in the week when I was at a camp, and he didn't get to work out. But I'm looking at him. They say that he could be one of the best defensive linemen ever to come through Glenville. Like, he's got that type of size, ability, motor. They're very excited about him, to say the least. So we'll be peeking at him.
Sounds like what I like to call a one technique. That would be
Chris Carter type.
When was the last great one technique of that size from the state of Ohio? I can't even remember.
I would say Chris Carter was a guy that was brought in to be something like that. If you remember him out of Cleveland, JFK, going back a ways.
Oh, I do. And I'm still looking for the last great one to come out of Ohio. So, Mark, I'm going to let you go. Good luck to you and your son today.
Thank you very much.
We better get some highlights of young Porter. All right.
Oh, by the way, Dan, you asked me one of your questions. I was a 2 or 3 part question, and I don't know that I got to one of the parts. You said about the next commitment. One of the guys, I guess if I had to pick one guy to be the next commitment, that would be Isaiah West, the running back from Philadelphia St. Joe. He is making his official visit to Ohio State this weekend, and I've had him crystal balled for almost ever since he got the offer. Well, probably ever since he got the offer from Ohio State. I would pick him as if I had to pick one guy, the next Ohio State commitment, running back Isaiah West from Philadelphia St. Joe.
Okay. The answer to this from Ross Halford: is Glenville bringing a crew down here today? The answer to that is yes. They were in Michigan the other day. The Glenville crew, as Mark said, will be here today. All right. We're going to go rapid fire, Bill. I've written down many of the questions up here. If I don't get to you guys, I apologize, but I got a bunch of them. First, will Trent Seaborn be there today? Do you know?
I have not been told one way or the other on him yet.
Will Ohio State get a commitment from wide receiver Quincy Porter?
That will become more clear after this weekend. As of right now, his official visit to Michigan is still on. again, it's recruiting. You never know. He could all of a sudden announce today he's committing to Ohio State. But as of now, he's still visiting Michigan this weekend. And I've said all along, it's going to come down to Ohio State or Michigan. I like where Ohio State is at right now, but I want to see what happens when he goes to Michigan this weekend.
Again, but we're going rapid fire here. The current weakness in the 2025 recruiting class, if you see one.
They need to get another couple offensive linemen, no doubt. They've got a great start, absolutely great start with Carter Lowe, who is making his official visit to Ohio State this weekend. But they have a great start there. If they get David Sanders to go along with them, then I don't know if I would care that they got other guys because they need at least 3, if not 4, maybe 5 offensive linemen in this class. But if you told me right now you could have 3 or 4, you could have 5 offensive linemen in this class, and one of them is not Sanders, or you could have 2 offensive linemen in this class, and their names are Carter Lowe and David Sanders, I would say sign me up for the 2.
Let's piggyback on that. More important recruit, David Sanders or Trey McNutt?
Ooh. You know, I think the world of Trey McNutt. I think he is tremendous. He is. I told him, of the kids I saw when I went out and saw games this past season, he was one of the 2 best kids I saw all season long. But just because of pure need, Ohio State's already got 3 safeties in their class, and they need offensive linemen. So I would go with Sanders only because of pure need at the position.
And keep in mind, that is the ultimate first world question, and that the number 1 offensive lineman or the number 1 safety. Come on, what are we talking about here? That's tremendous on either front. Your thoughts on the recruitment of Marion Dye?
Well, he's supposed to make an official visit to Ohio State this weekend. We'll see. Ohio State's in pretty darn good shape when it comes to defensive end guys. They've already got London Merritt, who, by the way, is making his official visit to Ohio State this weekend. Zaire Mathis is committed, although schools are still recruiting Zaire Mathis. They haven't given up trying to flip him. Let me say that, other schools. So they've got those 2 committed. They've got Justin Hill, who is being recruited by the Jack, who I think they're going to get. Damian Shanklin is visited. So they've got a lot of defensive end possibilities out there. So we'll see what happens.
Next up on my list, ironically, Bill, because you're the dean, you know how to play it. I've seen crystal balls roll towards the south, the Baton Rouge area in particular. Damian Shanklin, they want a little more detail.
Well, he made an official visit to LSU. Everybody was gung-ho, it seemed like, that he was going to LSU. And again, I always say, don't jump to conclusions if a kid is still taking visits to a place like Ohio State, for instance. So don't be so quick to say, he's going to LSU, for instance. And he may end up going there. Certainly that's possible. But he did make an official visit to Ohio State, and it went very well. Ohio State and LSU, I still think are top contenders. He's got this weekend Tennessee, and then he's got Alabama June 21st. That's a pretty strong list of 4 official visits right there. So I would say that right now LSU and Ohio State would be at the top of his list. But again, let's let him go through the visits and see what happens.
There's always a buzz coming out of visits for guys. And I think you're right. Now the way visits are, when guys are getting really hooked up, I imagine the buzz after a visit is even stronger. And like you said, we need to wait that one out until the buzz, as it were, wears off for later in the week. All right, Bill.
By the way, I see a question there about the 2 linebackers, Madden Faremo and Owasu Botang. Nathaniel Owasu Botang.
Easy for you to say, Bill.
I had the news, I think on today's Thursday, all these camps and everything, you get the days mixed up right now. But I had the news on Tuesday, I believe, that Ohio State was not having Faremo make an official visit this weekend. That visit has been canceled. He's not visiting. The only linebacker, as I said on Tuesday, that's visiting Ohio State on an official visit this weekend is Owusu Batang. I think Fremo is going to end up committing to Notre Dame. I'd be pretty surprised if he didn't. Wuso Boateng, right now Notre Dame is the school to beat for him. He made his official visit there already. But again, he's made that visit. He's got Ohio State this weekend. Let's see what happens. Obviously, his brother was a great linebacker from Notre Dame. That helps them. But on the other hand, his brother's playing in the state of Ohio now, up north for the Cleveland Browns. So maybe that helps Ohio State a little bit. But he will make his official visit this weekend to Ohio State. Let's see if Ohio State can overtake Notre Dame with their official visit this weekend.
I think Notre Dame is doing a really good job recruiting linebackers. They're getting guys drafted now. Their head coach is a former linebacker. That's a tough gig, man. If they really dial in on you, especially a West Coast guy like Forever, that's a tough one. Landon Pace. I'm sure people know that name. Are we still recruiting him?
He's on the radar screen still, but he's not. They have not, as of right now, scheduled him for an official visit. So I don't. Things can always change in recruiting, but I would be a little surprised if he would end up at Ohio State.
All right, we're going to finish with two Texans. People want an update on Decorian Moore, the wide receiver of tremendous skill and speed. And they also want an update on Riley Pettyjohn, the linebacker, who is expected to make his official visit this weekend. You can update us on that as well.
Yeah, I still think that Riley Pettyjohn is going to end up at one of two schools, Texas or Ohio State. He has already made his official visit to Ohio State. He did that the first weekend, May 31st. He's got Texas this weekend, so that is a big one to keep an eye on. Yeah, he's got Texas this weekend. He still has Texas A&M on the 21st, but I still think it's going to come down to Ohio State or Texas for him. And let's see.
Decorian Moore. Let's finish it off.
Yeah, Decorian Moore. That one, that's a tough one to predict right now. He has made official visits to Ohio State and LSU so far. He has Texas this weekend. So you've got Riley Pettyjohn and Decorian Moore making their officials to Texas this weekend. That's going to be something interesting to watch for sure. And then he's got Oregon on the 21st. So all those schools, he put, everybody again was counting LSU out for Decorian Moore once he decommitted. Not everybody, but a lot of people were. Mike Roach has done a great job. Mike Roach knows Decorian Moore extremely well, has done a great job of covering his recruitment. But LSU official visited him last weekend, and it went very well. They are back in the picture along with Ohio State, Oregon, and Texas. He's going to take those visits and then make his final decision.
Wide receiver recruiting has gotten very, very interesting at the top. It's a very glamorous Dietrich kind of said it for me thing there. And there you have it. We appreciate everybody stopping by. Bill will, of course, be on campus again today. You need to get on the site, and you need to get a premium membership to follow Bill throughout the day. Get stuff first and fast. We appreciate everybody stopping by. Have a good one. Bucknutters.